Meet the sheriffs.
Let's go and introduce ourselves.
My High Court enforcement officers.
We're here today to execute a High Court writ.
They're the men whose job it is to get you your money back.
It's an arrestable offence to stop me doing my job.
If you've been ripped off and don't know where to turn,
I'm not waiting anymore.
I'm ordered to seize goods to clear this debt, which would mean clearing this place out.
if you've been to court but still not been paid what you're owed,
Why don't you just tell me who you are?
This is an absolute crock. You need to pay this.
the High Court enforcement officers are charged by law to recover what a court says is rightfully yours.
I've seized your car, sir.
You can have a letter through the door or we'll go through the window.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
It's time to call the sheriffs.
Collected 42 grand.
Coming up, this central London guitar store sold a customer's classic guitar and then kept her money. Can the sheriffs change their tune?
I'm going to call out locksmiths and effect entry, and I will be removing all the goods from the premises today.
Parking officer Charles Sr. was dismissed on the spot and denied the money he was entitled to.
I felt wrongly treated. I've been dismissed there and then.
Can the sheriffs make his former employer pay up? And the sheriffs meet a debtor with something to get off his chest.
Yeah, it's all my fault. It was handed to me. I just went on holiday and...
The sheriffs collect 93 pence for every £1 they're asked to enforce. But despite this high ratio of success, life isn't always easy for them. This morning, Lawrence and Kev are on their way for a return visit to a guitar shop in central London. First time around, they found the shop closed, so left paperwork from the High Court commanding the owner to get in touch, which he's failed to do.
Right, we're heading to London Guitar Centre. We've attended this address previously before and they've had no correspondence from the last lot of paperwork we've left there.
The woman they're trying to help, Emma, doesn't want us to use her full name. She agreed to let the London Guitar Centre sell a classic guitar on her behalf, a 1959 Fender Jazzmaster. But when the sale was made, the shop didn't hand over the money. Emma took them to court, and when the London Guitar Centre's owner didn't contest the case, a judge ordered him to pay Emma the £3,120 she was owed. But since then, the shop has failed to pay a penny. Now it's up to Lawrence and Kev to make him pay up, one way or another.
So yeah, it's a fair amount of money, but if there's a few nice guitars there, which we're hoping for, it wouldn't take many of them to have the debt settled. So that's what we'll be looking for. So we're going to go there with maybe the intention of forcing entry with locksmiths and hopefully seizing possible guitars on the premises. So hopefully we'll get a result on this one. It's literally there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got space. I think we've got space.
Yeah, there's loads of spaces up there.
15 minutes later, they arrive at the shop, just yards away from the world-famous bustle of Leicester Square.
It's not open. Didn't expect it to be, did we?
There.
Despite the busy street, the shop appears to be closed today. But this isn't going to stop Lawrence. He finds the manager's phone number stuck to the front door and wastes no time calling to introduce himself.
Hello there, is that the London Guitar Centre? Hello, my name's Mr Grix, I'm an enforcement officer. I'm at your premises now, I don't know where you are because the place is locked. Right, are you in the vicinity, sir? Right, well, we're here to execute a High Court writ. I did come here previously and leave paperwork. Nobody's got in touch with me. So unless you can get somebody here in about the next 15-20 minutes to open up, I'm going to be employing locksmiths to effect an entry into the premises and I will be removing all the goods from within. Yeah. OK, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
The manager gives Lawrence the mobile phone number of a second person, the owner, and says he needs to speak to him. But when Lawrence tries to call, the owner's phone is off. Things aren't looking good for the London Guitar Centre. Lawrence is fast losing patience and is ready to call in a locksmith. He tries the owner's number one last time. And this time, he gets through.
Hello there.
The owner asks him to leave paperwork at the shop detailing the money owed, so he can then deal with the matter. But given he ignored the papers left on their last visit, he's hitting all the wrong notes with Lawrence.
No, I can't, sir, because I came here before, I left paperwork, you haven't been in touch at all. With all due respect, you could just be spinning me a line now. I'm not saying that you are, but you've made no attempt to get in touch with me. So if you're not able to come here, I'm going to call out locksmiths and effect entry, and I will be removing all the goods from the premises today.
Surprisingly, despite the prospect of his shop soon being emptied, the owner maintains he isn't prepared to pay today. Calling a sheriff's bluff is never a good idea. Lawrence decides it's time to get this removal started.
OK, bye-bye.
Did he say take them?
Yeah, well, no, he didn't say take them, but he's got no choice, has he?
But as they prepare to phone the locksmith, the first man they spoke to, the guitar shop manager, calls again with an unexpected offer.
OK, lovely.
Not wanting the sheriffs to force entry, he's willing to come and open up for them to remove enough goods from his shop to pay the full amount owed to Emma.
The other fella's on his way.
If his offer proves genuine, this enforcement just got a lot more straightforward for the sheriffs.
So now is the long wait.
There's nothing for Lawrence and Kev to do but soak up the sights and sounds of London's West End. We'll find out later if the manager does indeed turn up. The parking industry is a common port of call for the sheriffs, who often find themselves trying to help the victims of clampers recover the money they're owed.
Well, at this stage, the writ is live.
But today, they have a very different type of dispute to resolve. Northern Sheriffs Pete Spencer and Dave Lockwood are on their way to Leeds to visit a parking company who have failed to settle a debt owed to a former employee.
Right, we're off to a company called UK CPS Limited in Leeds. It's an employment tribunal case and we're looking to collect today. All it says is work vans and cars are kept at this address, so whether or not they're there when we arrive or it's just a registered address that they use, we won't know until we get there.
The man they're trying to help is Charles Sr., also from Leeds. Charles worked as a team leader for a parking company for 8 years. When this job folded, he then found a more frontline role as a ticket inspector for car park management company UK CPS Limited. It was a difficult job, which at times he found very challenging.
Well, you were face to face with more aggression, but it's a matter of just learning to walk away from that aggression and carry on with what you're supposed to be doing.
But one which he worked hard at to raise money for his family and grew to like over the year and a half he worked there.
I used to have to work, I more or less worked anything from a 5 to a 6 day week to make a living. I enjoyed the job because once you were out on the road, you were your own boss sort of thing, really. You know, you didn't get bothered by anybody.
Charles's troubles began when, out of nowhere, UK CPS Limited asked him to sign a new contract, agreeing to a £750 excess on his company vehicle insurance. Feeling this was an unfair arrangement, Charles said he wouldn't sign it and was told he would have to work night shifts as a result. When he refused, the company informed him his services were no longer required.
And I said, well, no, I won't work night times because it's not in my contract to work on a night time. We're only up to a certain time. And they said, in that case, if you're not prepared to work nights, you best bring your uniform and camera back to office. And dismissed me there and then on the spot. I felt badly, wrongly treated by the fact that I'd been dismissed there and then for something that shouldn't have happened, really.
While disappointed to have lost his job, Charles was even more shocked to learn he wouldn't receive any redundancy or notice pay. Unable to find work and with no money to tide him over, his financial situation quickly became dire.
Well, yeah, of course, I was worried about money, and I've got a home and bills like everybody else. I was just getting basic job seekers allowance. So it was a very bad time for us. That Christmas that year was a bad time for us. At the time I had one young grandchild, which I wanted to buy gifts for. Couldn't buy gifts for my wife or anybody.
Angry at how UK CPS Limited had treated him, but unsure of his rights, Charles turned to the Citizens Advice Bureau.
Got some advice from them, and they helped guide me through everything. You know, from just writing a letter to them appealing against the decision to taking it on from there.
Learning he had a case for unfair dismissal, Charles made the daunting decision to take UK CPS Limited to an employment tribunal. When the case was contested in court, the company argued they'd done nothing wrong. However, a judge disagreed and ruled Charles had indeed been unfairly dismissed. He ordered UK CPS Limited to pay Charles £7,075 in compensation and strongly criticised the way they treated him.
Well, he made a few comments about UK CPS, saying they were a company back from the dark ages. They didn't have a clue as to what they were doing as regards procedures of disciplinary procedures.
But despite the court order, the company still failed to pay up. His last hope of getting the money owed to him now rests with Pete and Dave, who are being chauffeured today by Pete's partner, Lisa.
The enforcement address is, supposedly this is where the works vans and cars are kept at this address. I assume that's why we've been asked to attend that address. That's where the assets potentially will be.
Arriving at the address on the writ, it looks like they're in the right place.
There's some vehicles in there.
However, there's a problem.
That's at UK CPS. So how the hell do we get in there? Must be another way around to it then.
Several of UK CPS Limited's vehicles are parked tantalisingly in view, but inside a compound with no obvious route in.
Potentially something to do with it. I don't know if we can get through, you know, looking at it.
Needing to find another way in, Pete tries his luck at the building next door.
Open all there.
If necessary, sheriffs have the right to force entry to commercial premises.
Right. See, UKPS is here.
It's looking like Dave Lockwood may need to practice his fence climbing. But then Pete notices something. And they're in. But is there anyone around to deal with them?
Hiya, you okay? Looking for UK CPS Limited. No? It's what? They're the vans, aren't they? Whoever owns these vans I need to speak to.
It's not in.
Is he not?
No.
Just, is anyone in at all, or?
Pete, it's this gentleman I think you need to speak to.
It's not me you need to speak to.
No? Is anyone about from there?
No, what's it about?
Okay, who are you to do with the company?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, okay. What's your position?
I'm operations manager, why? What?
Right, okay.
Well, just before, can I find what's going on?
At this point, we're asked to leave. As Pete explains, they've come to collect the full amount owed to Charles, or the company's vehicles will be seized. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, with two sheriffs ready to pounce, the man says he needs to make a phone call. It's exactly what Pete wants to hear. Half an hour later, Pete and Dave emerge, and it seems their tough stance has had the desired effect. Another member of staff has brought a debit card down to the office, and the man's made a payment.
The guy's paid 50% of the outstanding debt at the moment, and he's looking to pay the other 50% over a period of 3 or 4 months. Obviously, if the claimant doesn't accept it, we'll be back for the full amount that's outstanding. But we seized 4 vehicles as well, so obviously if he doesn't keep the payments up, or if it's not accepted, obviously we'll be back out and potential to remove the 4 vehicles.
With £3,500 in the bank and a concrete arrangement to pay in place, it's a satisfying result for Pete and Dave. And great news for Charles Senior.
Absolutely brilliant, yeah, because it has actually brought a company that wouldn't pay, and they had no intention of paying me. They've actually, you know, got them thinking now that they're having to start and pay something. And so the final result on that is marvellous.
Back in central London, Lawrence and Kev are still in Leicester Square, waiting for the guitar shop manager who's offered to come and open up for them. They're planning to remove enough goods from the shop to settle the debt owed to Emma. She sold a valuable vintage guitar, a 1959 Fender Jazzmaster, through the London Guitar Centre, but never received a penny of the money. The manager's cooperative stance is not something the sheriffs encounter very often, if at all. There's a chance it could be nothing more than a time-wasting ruse.
So now is the long wait.
But as promised, after just over an hour, he arrives and invites them in to start seizing his guitar stock.
Hello there. Yeah, I'll just show you some ID.
It's now simply a case of working out how many guitars Lawrence and Kev need to take to get Emma her money.
Right.
How much is the amount for?
It was £4,924.95.
Right.
Obviously, there's an hour's waiting time to go on that now.
With the manager's expert eye to guide them, Lawrence and Kev are eager to get started. However, there's a snag. The valuable electric guitars are all being sold on behalf of customers and so don't belong to the shop.
It's just that electrics are a bit more robust to transport and they're obviously higher value. I mean, that's £950. There isn't a £950 acoustic guitar downstairs, is there?
No, but that's the consignment.
That's 1200. Right, you'll need
all
to
consignments.
You'll need to provide the paperwork for those then.
Yeah.
With the sheriffs unable to go electric, they need to make sure the more delicate acoustic guitars reach the auction in one piece.
We'll go and get the bubble wrap out of the van.
We'll case them up when we've got cases for everything.
As the guitars are likely to only fetch a fraction of their retail price at auction, being able to raise enough money isn't guaranteed.
I mean, we're looking for... You're going to be looking at six grand. Well, what you've got auctioneer's costs, you've got to be looking at 6 or 7 grand, really. So 13 at 300, it's 4,000, doesn't it? That's mine. 759 rubs.
Put that one on, I think that's about it for that box.
An added complication is that all the guitars have security tags, which must be removed before they leave the shop.
Let's do it the sensible way. Just slacken the bloody string off, don't you?
There's the engineer, eh? There's the engineer.
Might be out of tune, but it's off without damage.
Can't believe you haven't taken one of these. Got one of them.
Hang on. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, that's perfect, yeah.
Finally, with the walls of the shop growing bare, Lawrence thinks they're getting close to the required amount.
We're getting there. We still need...
Is there anything else you'd recommend here?
Still got quite a way to go, yeah.
Yeah, well, you've got quite a lot here.
If there's a couple of guitars that are sort of 300-ish each, that might do it.
With the last guitar safely de-tagged and wrapped, this seizure is bringing back musical memories for Kev.
You guitar player yourself?
Oh, I used to.
Yeah.
Used to sort of have a bash about. Don't know if it qualifies as playing. Making a noise.
With that over, it's time to concentrate on the day job and loading up the van. Removal of goods is the ultimate sanction sheriffs can impose. But on this occasion, they had no choice. Unless the owner has a swift rethink and arranges to pay the debt himself, his valuable stock will be sold to the highest bidder. Either way, it's a successful outcome for Lawrence and Kev, who have ensured Emma will get her money back.
Ended up taking 23 guitars in total in the back of the van, and they'll be off to auction. So, yep, taking the guitars, gone, and job well done. I'd imagine it will cover well over what we're there to collect. Obviously, you've got auction costs to go on top of that. The guitars probably won't make a retail price at auction, but I think we seized enough to gather what monies we need.
It's been a textbook removal for the sheriffs, who are heading back to base to get these valuable guitars safely stored, ready for auction to raise funds to get Emma her money. The London Guitar Centre told us they thought the situation with former customer Emma was most unfortunate. They said the reason she hadn't been paid was because the shop had run into difficulties after becoming involved in a dispute with Westminster Council over business rates, which has severely restricted their ability to trade. They added that they hoped the sheriff's removal of the guitars would provide Emma with the money she was chasing. As officers of the High Court, the sheriffs play a vital part in enforcing our legal system.
There's a CCJ against each company, and we're here today to seize assets sufficient to clear that debt.
I haven't got anything, you know.
But it's also a job that can draw them into disputes that prove to be far from black and white. This morning, Sheriffs Lawrence and Kev are on their way to just such a case, tasked with enforcing a live High Court writ against a boss of a taxi firm in Essex.
20 to 7 in the morning, we're just coming into an address in Basildon. We're looking for Essex minibuses, part of Sky Transfers Group Limited. We're actually coming to the residential address, which is why we're here at this time of day, to catch them before they go to work.
The people they're trying to help are Martin and Donna Bradley from Basildon in Essex. Their problem started when Martin decided to change careers and become a cab driver. Driving past a local taxi firm, Sky Transfers, he decided to investigate job vacancies.
I saw a sign outside the premises where they were, and thought, well, it was local, so I thought I'd try my luck.
Martin worked for Sky Transfers and Essex Minibuses, both run by Colin Bland.
Seemed like a very nice guy, decent guy. Yeah, he gave me a job on the spot, and thought everything was hunky-dory.
Martin enjoyed his work, driving people to London's airports.
For me, it was just the perfect job. I worked the night shift, and the roads are so clear. Wonderful to go around the M25 at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning when there's no one else on the road.
At first, all was fine, until after 5 months working for Essex Minibuses, payment began to dry up.
We was getting dribbles of money, little bit here, little bit there, and you know, it just got worse and worse. We were just getting into more and more debt.
Worried by the lack of pay, Martin thought about resigning.
Didn't know whether to sort of cut and run. Obviously, if I'd left, I'd have been out of work, so that wasn't an option. I just carried on working, and just getting more and more in debt. You know, and it was a really stressful time.
But worse was to come. Colin Bland wrote to Martin, informing him he was winding up the company and making all the drivers, including him, redundant.
It was horrible when I lost my job. We sat in the living room and, you know, we were head in our hands, and we didn't know where to go. You know, it wasn't just the money. I'd lost my job.
Martin believed he was owed several months' wages, as well as redundancy money. But Mr. Bland didn't agree to pay this. The loss of earnings had a serious impact on the Bradleys and their 4 children at a difficult time.
Pretty much wrecked that Christmas. We borrowed money to get over that, and we still owe that money. You go to work, you expect to be paid for it. And I'm afraid that just wasn't the case.
The youngest is 13 now. If you work, they think you get paid for it. And trying to explain to them that you've got no money to pay for things is very difficult, and it can be very upsetting. And it affects everybody, the whole family.
After closing Essex Minibuses, as he was legally entitled to do, Colin Bland started up a new taxi business from the same offices under a different name. Frustrated, Martin and Donna took Mr. Bland to an employment tribunal to recover the money they felt Martin was still owed. Mr. Bland didn't contest the tribunal, and he and his company were ordered to pay the Bradleys £2,241.52. But this was far from the end of the matter. Mr. Bland strongly disagreed with the judge's verdict and refused to pay up. At this point, the Bradleys turned to the sheriffs.
What is that?
They're now relying on Lawrence and Kev to do what they do best. Arriving at the Bland's house, they head in. But before they've even knocked on the door, Lawrence spots a potentially seizable asset. He makes sure it's going nowhere fast.
Kev, I'll get the van and block it in.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm just waiting for a second now, just for Kev to get the van and block this car in before we knock on the door.
Kev secures the car. With it blocked in, it's time for the sheriffs to make their presence felt. But not before Kev has sought the approval for his motoring skills of ex-driving instructor Lawrence.
See that reversing around there? That skills that was.
Yeah, proper bit of driving.
Can't teach that.
I used to. When I was a driving instructor.
Morning.
Morning. Looking for Colin or Nina Bland? I'm here today to execute a writ on behalf of a Mr. M. Bradley. We're here to seize goods to the value of... Would you like to get your husband on the phone so that he can come back and pay it?
Mrs. Bland gets through to husband Colin and passes the phone across to Lawrence to introduce himself and explain why they're there.
Hello there, sir. My name's Mr. Grix. I'm a High Court Enforcement Officer. You were found liable at an employment tribunal. Did you attend the employment tribunal? Right, well, you're named as liable on the writ, sir. We're here today to collect £3,101.67 and we're here today to seize goods to the value of which will be removed if the amount isn't paid. OK? Right, Sky Transfers Group Limited. Right, well, that just leaves you and your wife then, sir, because you're named on the writ.
Mr. Bland says he's already put an application into the court to challenge aspects of the judgment. But with a High Court writ to enforce, this doesn't change the job Lawrence has been sent to do.
As it is today, we're here with a live writ. An application doesn't prevent enforcement, so we're here to enforce this writ, which means unless we collect payment in full, we will be removing goods to the value of £3,101.67 from the property. He's gone. He's on his way back.
Soon after, Mr. Bland arrives.
Hi there.
Hello there, sir.
He says the court has made a mistake and that as his was a limited company, neither he nor his wife should be held responsible for its debts. Therefore, he says, their personal names shouldn't be on the writ.
I'll listen to what you've got to tell me, sir. I will always pay you the courtesy of doing that. However, it doesn't prevent us enforcing today.
But Mr. Bland doesn't want to go quietly.
Do you want to come in and film this? Because this will be really good for you, OK? Right.
He asks us into his house so he can tell his side of the story.
Just so you know, these people here have a misrepresented document. It's not their fault, but it was actually done wrong at the courts. But they are here to actually try and enforce something which the Employment Tribunal has already told me was wrongly, has been corrected at their end. So therefore they're trying to enforce it on the wrong people. So it's a bit of a thing that may go a bit further on this one.
If that doesn't get paid, it gets...
Whatever the status of his own legal action, it won't prevent Lawrence enforcing today. Mr. Bland realises his best option is to pay now and appeal the verdict later.
Right, that's gone through.
Yeah.
There's your receipt for that.
Yeah.
OK.
No problem.
After paying the full amount by credit card, Mr. Bland again decides to talk to us.
Well, we'll have to take more people to the airport now with Sky Transfers, won't we? A lot more people. So, people, if you want to get to the airport from Essex, it's the cheapest way to get there. And we're doing a lot of work at the moment, and we need you. We need your help now.
With full payment collected as ordered by the court, it's job done for Lawrence and Kev. The money will now be held by the sheriffs for 14 days, pending any further legal action. Since we visited the home of Colin Bland, he later went back to court and obtained a stay of execution, stopping the sheriffs releasing his money to Martin and Donna Bradley. He argued that as his was a limited company, neither he nor his wife should be held responsible for its debts, and therefore their personal names shouldn't be on the writ, but only his company's, which is now dissolved. A judge ordered a new hearing to decide whether Mr. Bland's argument was correct, and the case should be set aside. Finally, 4 months on, the Bradleys attended Croydon County Court for this hearing, along with Mr. Bland. The new judge ruled Colin and Nina Bland's names shouldn't have been on the original writ, and that the Bradleys would need to bring a new case against the company. The now dissolved Essex minibuses, an action which is unlikely to succeed. For Martin and Donna, it was hugely disappointing news.
You know, it's been taking so long and it just wears you down. We're going to have to go away and think about this to see what we do next.
Anyone managing to obtain a county court judgment of over £600 can upgrade it to the High Court and get a writ.
My name's Mr. Grix, I'm an enforcement officer and I'm here to execute a High Court writ.
The sheriffs enforce over 1,000 High Court writs every month.
I'm an enforcement officer. We've got an High Court writ to attend here today.
And recover over £24 million of money rightfully owed to their clients every year.
We are here today to collect £20,741 and a penny.
Only sheriffs can execute High Court writs, and it gives them more powers than county court bailiffs to enter properties and seize assets.
It needs to be done by immediate payment, sir. We cannot leave until that money hits our bank account.
I'm coming in anyway today, whether you let me in or not.
If no payment is forthcoming, sheriffs can seize goods to auction to pay off debts.
At the moment, we've seized every vehicle on here.
Although removing goods is rare, happening in less than 1% of cases.
You're not going to be able to leave at the moment. I've just seized this aircraft.
These days, a High Court writ costs £60. If the sheriffs are successful, there's nothing more for the client to pay.
That's the cash there.
If they're unsuccessful, the only cost is a £60 admin fee.
Hallelujah. Hey.
Today, Sheriffs Pete Spencer and Dave Crabtree are heading to Blackpool for a follow-up visit at a seaside hotel. They're going there on behalf of a disabled former guest. Left so dissatisfied with the service he received, he went to court to get his money back. The new President's Hotel didn't contest the case, and a judge ordered them to pay the disabled guest, who wishes to remain anonymous, £1,095 in compensation and costs. But not one penny has since been paid.
Well, I've been here previously. The defendant's name was actually in a different name last time when I attended. What they've obviously done is they've taken it back and got the defendant's name, her personal name plus the limited company name as well. And Shaz has been sent a copy of the new order, supposedly, according to this.
Last time Pete was here, he listed all the goods inside the hotel, but the owner, Emma Walsh, claimed nothing belonged to her, but instead to a limited company, Eastview Leisure. Now, with this company also on his High Court writ, Pete's going back to finish what he started and won't be taking no for an answer. Time to head inside and ring for service.
Hi, Mrs. Walsh, enforcement officers from the High Court. We've got an High Court writ to attend here today. Can you get her on the phone if possible?
I'll try.
Thank you.
The receptionist says the owner, Mrs. Walsh, isn't around.
I think you need to go to we are removing goods today, so she needs to be in touch.
Right, just bear with me.
OK.
While the receptionist tries to get the owner on the phone, Dave gets on with a familiar task of sizing up the hotel's assets.
I've actually listed all the beds and TVs here previously.
Meanwhile, the hotel's accountant turns up to talk to Pete.
Good afternoon.
Hi, can I come straight?
Yes, that's fine. Come through another.
He doesn't wish to be identified, and so, not to get in the way of the sheriff's work, our camera stays out of the way. While Dave sizes up any assets on site, next door, Pete gets straight to the point on behalf of the disgruntled disabled guest.
I've been previously and I spoke to Mrs. Walsh. We're back again, unfortunately, to collect full payment or remove goods. It's so important to get her down here or get in touch with her.
The accountant says the owner is at the dentist and won't be back until the afternoon, and he has no means of paying. This isn't good enough for Pete, who's staying put until he's got the former guest his money.
They've been given an hour to get the hour free once we arrive. After that, they've been advised they're going to get charged £181.50 plus VAT per hour for us being here. But we will start plugging the computer systems within the next 15 minutes if they haven't come up with a payment.
With the minutes ticking by, Pete and Dave take the time to work out what goods will be best to remove.
There's tables, isn't there?
Yeah, we can't fit them in Van Dijk.
Yes.
And this looks like being a big removal for the sheriffs.
Big hotel, isn't it?
But just in time, a woman arrives with a bank card and agrees to pay. So Dave fires up the trusty chip and pin machine. Meanwhile, our camera is asked to stay outside.
Just declined it, Pete.
But the payment won't go through.
Sometimes if you put two numbers in, they think there's something suspicious going off, so they sometimes query it and knock them back. 26.
Finally, the woman tries a different card, and the payment goes through. With their mission complete, it's checkout time for the sheriffs, and payment in full for the former guest.
Yeah, that's a good one, paid in full on a credit card. It did come down to potentially unplugging the computers, giving the option to put things on a memory stick. Yeah, good. Payment in full, 265,807 with the card charge on there, so the claimant will be happy with that one.
Today, Sheriffs Lawrence and Kev are on the road again, heading just north of London to a commercial cleaning company who haven't paid a member of staff the money he was entitled to.
We're on our way to Welwyn Garden City now, to a company called New Green Services Limited. It's an employment tribunal matter.
The man they're trying to help is Kieran Hook, who after being let go by New Green Services, didn't receive the notice or holiday pay owed to him. He took the case to an employment tribunal, and when the company didn't contest it, a judge ordered them to pay Kieran Hook £1,250. But New Green Services have since failed to do so. Any chance of getting his money now rests with Lawrence and Kev.
And we're going to what looks like a business address, a unit in a business centre, so hopefully we'll find some company assets there.
The address the sheriffs have is an industrial estate with several different businesses trading. As they arrive on site and park up, locating the company thereafter is the priority.
Let's get in there.
Lawrence and Kev head straight to main reception.
New Green Services Limited. Hello there. We're enforcement officers. We've got a High Court writ for them.
A woman appears at the front desk who wants to talk to them.
Are you from New Green?
You're from New Green, right.
The female employee doesn't wish to be identified, and so, not wanting to get in the way of the sheriff's work, we keep our camera pointing down.
OK, we've got a High Court writ on behalf of Kieran Hook. The amount outstanding is £2,112.27, and we're here today to seize goods to clear that debt. But you can prevent further action by paying in full.
The female employee says she's aware of the debt, but it's someone else at the company who's dealing with it. She asks Lawrence and Kev to wait at reception while she goes to speak to him. This isn't good enough for Lawrence. Now he knows he's in the right place, Lawrence isn't prepared to wait around.
We're ordered here to seize goods by the court, so that's what we have to do. And we'd be in contempt of court if we didn't do it.
Once inside the company office, Lawrence outlines to the woman the methods of payment he'll accept.
Cleared funds. So it can be credit card or debit card, but he would have to, whoever is the card holder would have to be present to do a chip and pin payment. Or cash.
With the boss on his way, Lawrence and Kev get on with listing assets that could, if necessary, be removed and sold to pay the debt owed to former employee Kieran Hook. Minutes later, with everything in his office already seized, including a signed Manchester United shirt, the company boss Edward Dixon arrives. But will he be able to settle the debt?
Yeah, it's all my fault.
He's come with a confession and, more importantly, his bank card.
We are aware of it. It was handed to me. I just went on holiday.
Mr. Dixon agrees to pay in full.
I don't know, it's saying connecting. Still mucking about, isn't it?
So near and yet so far. The payment isn't going through.
No, see, it's come up as declined, but it hasn't declined for normal. No, it's a problem with the it's a problem with this, either this machine or the card company.
If he wants payment, Lawrence has no choice but to contact the card machine's control centre.
The terminal's showing a full signal and it still won't connect. It's just come up declined again, but it's declined because it can't connect. It's not declined because of lack of funds.
Time for another go.
Fingers crossed. Connection made, look at that. Marvellous.
This time, to Lawrence's delight, the payment goes through. Transaction complete.
There's your copy of that, and we'll leave you in peace. OK, thanks.
Just 40 minutes since they walked in, Lawrence and Kev are walking out, with the full amount owed to Kieran Hook. It's a great result for the sheriffs.
£2,112.27p. So, yeah, no, another successful one, can't argue with that. When we eventually got the PDQ machine working, just needed all rebooting. Just turn it off and then on.
New Green Services told us they had not been made aware of the tribunal hearing and therefore had not submitted a defence. They added they had no intention of not paying the court judgment, and once they realised it was unpaid, they paid it immediately. Since Lawrence and Kev visited the London Guitar Centre and seized 23 valuable instruments, the company hasn't made any payments to settle the debt they owe. The sheriffs have now put the guitars up for auction through an online auction site. The money raised will go to paying off the £3,120 owed to former customer Emma. That's the money she was owed by the company when they sold her 1959 Fender Jazzmaster guitar.